What is going on, everyone? Welcome to our Mother's Day edition of the Hit the Books NBA, NHL, MLB live stream. We're going to go through, obviously, the playoff games we have on the slate, 2 NBA, 2 NHL. We handpicked three MLB games that we're going to get into. Make sure you're giving your mom some locks on Mother's Day. Make sure you're winning some bets. Obviously, got to pay for those gifts somehow. So we're going to get right into it. NHL, we'll start out with the NHL. We do have ace your Bruins versus the Panthers. Panthers have a 2-1 series lead. Game 4 in Boston tonight at 6:30. Give me 1 second here to get the odds pulled up, but kind of quick little recap from that last game. Does that kind of make you a little weary? Bruins a plus 125 money line at home today coming into this game. Panthers at the minus 150. Over under, basically they're all at 5.5, except that Oilers series obviously going to be a little bit higher at 6.5, but 5.5 see over under for this game. Bruins plus 125, Panthers minus 150. What does that game 3 tell you about what's going to happen in game 4?
Yeah, I expect a much different game 4 than I did game 3 and game 2. Game 3, they actually played a bit different than they did in 2. Game 1, game 2, pretty much the same story, just flip scripts, both teams kind of handing it to each other. Last game, Bruins in a tight 1-0, a double minor to the rookie at the end of the second period with a couple minutes left. That leads to 2 goals, and it's 3-0. They end up scoring 3 power play goals. Bruins made it 4-2 late and had some chances to get back into it, but they started to get going too late. Shot count very low in games 2 and 3, so they're going to need a lot of firepower to come out. Not surprised that they're sitting at plus 125, rightfully so, after Florida really having their way in the last 2 games. And it may look like they're getting the Swayman, Mackey saying things like that. I don't think so too much. There's been tip-ins. It's been a plethora of power play goals. Bruins lead the playoffs in bench minors for too many men on the ice. Unexcusable errors by the Bruins, and they need to clean it up. They need to have a simpler game. Charlie McAvoy leading the playoffs in turnovers. I know he plays big minutes, and they played 7 in the first round, but he gets paid so much money. He's playing great hockey, but turning the puck over, that's not a good thing. I mean, there's a mix of good and bad, and he's playing big minutes against great players, so not surprising, but boys got to turn it around, step it up a bit. I like him on the money line at night tonight. I think they even it up at home. Are we surprised that the series is going the way it is? No, especially after last year and this Panthers team being dubbed one of the best in the league, but Bruins are going to have to turn it up. Need a big one from whoever gets the start in net. I think it's going to be Sway, but wouldn't be surprised if it's all
the score. Well. The score says Swayman's expected.
It should be. I mean, like I said to you before, you guys were saying goalie controversies. Swayman,
half of it's us fucking with you, but I do think if the Bruins lose this game, you have to go to Allmark. You have to.
But the thing is, if you watch the games, it's not the goalie at all. They're getting outshot like 36-8 going into the third period.
But it's like if you lose this game 5-1 again, or 4-1, 5-1, it's like
just to mix it up.
You got to spark the team somehow. You know what I mean? Like we all played hockey.
It's more so the team in front of them. It's the goalies are going to play great regardless. And yeah, even if they give up crooked numbers the last 2, if you watch those full games, it's not their fault. It's the team in front of them. Stay out of the box. Stop giving them quality chances and get some stuff going on offense. Can't be getting 2 to 5 shots per period and expect to win the game. Going to take a lot from these Bruins, but no discredit to the Panthers. I mean, they're loaded. That depth we've talked about on the pod, you guys have heard it. They've been getting going. That power play is heating up too for them, so that's massive. Special teams is massive in the playoffs, so we'll have to see. I think it's going to
built for the playoffs too. It's like,
yeah, it's been a great aggressive, game too, a great series. A lot of people. It's funny. I see the NHL talking up the intensity of this game, even though they like to go no fighting and they want to turn down the league, but then they market this series as the premier one to watch because of what's unfolding. Sam Bennett coming back, injuring Marchand with a dirty hit, and he made his presence felt right away. That's the way he plays the game. So
is Marchand playing today?
Yeah, he's got to be, right, but he missed the third period. I think that was just precautionary, and they were down 3-0 going into the third. So I think they were being safe with it, but we'll see. I mean, shoulder injuries are tough.
Marchand's listed as day-to-day on the score. Let me see if I can get an update on that.
Separated shoulder on a sucker punch. That's like worst case scenario. I don't know the exacts of it. We won't find out.
Slid into the boards. Like anytime you have an injury like that and you slide into the boards, that never helps.
It's always the shoulders that's tough in hockey. But people play through them. It's just a pain tolerance thing. At least you hope he's able to. So we'll see. Need the captain out there. Need the rep. I expect another high flying series or game tonight. I expect to be much closer. Bruins got to play closer to the vest, clean up those turnovers, stay out of the box, and convert some chances. Because when they get looks on Bobrovsky, they're putting pucks in the net. So not worried about that. Just got to turn it up a bit. Intensity's high. Maybe expect a few more mitts to be dropped, but this is a fun one to watch for sure.
I like the Bruins to even up the series here today. I think you could see a situation where the home teams win most of these games going. I think I originally said the Panthers are going to win the series, but it's going to go in 7. I'll reevaluate that next week whenever we talk on the podcast. Well, obviously, Game 6 or Game 7 will be sitting around Wednesday. If no, Game 5 would
Yeah,
be
game 5 would be
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So we'd be looking at a Game 6. We'd be looking at that for Friday. I think it says it is. Yeah. So I do like Boston to get back and even up this series. I don't think you're going to have another. It's just so hard for them to lose 2 games in a row at home. They're one of the most dominant teams on their home ice. Obviously, playing a playoff caliber team like Florida, like you said, they have that play style to play in the playoffs. They're kind of. It looks like they're getting under the Bruins' skin. Bruins are just kind of taking the penalties, doing the little things. This is a very experienced team. It's kind of unlike them to see them do these kinds of things. You pointed out the turnovers with McAvoy. Obviously, like you said, whether it's real or not, Mackey kind of fucking with you about Swayman. They've definitely gotten to him a couple of times, but I think the success that he had last round will carry over the Bruins. I think on home ice they handle business today. I think plus 125 is nice value for them on their home ice. I'm going to be going with the Bruins to even up the series today.
Yeah, it should be a good one for sure. Going to be high flying. We got another game in the NHL, don't we?
Yeah, then we head out west for a 9:30 puck drop. Canucks at Oilers. The series shifts back to Edmonton. Edmonton a minus 210 favorite on the money line. Canucks plus 170. Over under at 6.5. I said this was the little higher scoring one, obviously with the goalies not being as experienced and then the high flying offenses of these two teams. I like Edmonton. I like a minus the 1.5. I think they come out flying on their home ice. I think they get the first goal. I think this could be a 2-0 game at the end of the first period. Canucks, obviously, we definitely undervalued them. I think that comeback they had in game 1 on their home ice is huge. They will not do that in Edmonton. I can promise you that. I can see Edmonton win both in Edmonton, go back to Vancouver with a 3-1 series lead. May not close it out in Vancouver in game 5, but I'm still on these Oilers to close out this series. I think they're the better team. I'm going to go with the Oilers minus the 1.5 today. And what's nice is if you take the Bruins on the money line and the Oilers minus 1.5, both are plus 125. Yeah, both are plus 125. That could be a 2.5 unit day if you hit both. If you don't, you get a quarter unit back if you win one, lose one.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know if you saw my strategy the other day. I sent it in the chat. We didn't end up going with anything official because Mackey's bet on these Canucks, and I guess rightfully so. So Solov's keeping him in the series.
Definitely good reason. Like me and you were talking them down a little more than they deserve.
Yeah, I thought the Oilers were going to roll them. I could still see the Oilers win this thing in 5. I don't know about
5
you.
games, 5 scores straight.
Yeah, I got them in 6 though. I think maybe they drop one more, but I think
the home teams win every game this
it's
year.
crazy
Like, it's
how
so easy to say that, but like,
the Oilers eked one out the other day. They fumbled the first game, right? They had a good opening period, and then they eked out a 4-3 overtime win. I guess they're on the road though in the playoffs, it's a whole different beast. But I expect them to get going a little bit more and start flying. We saw McDavid get interviewed by the TNT crew the other day, so he's got to be feeling fine about himself. Like I said, this is the best matchup the Oilers could have had in the second round. Easy first. I think they still have a light second, but no such thing as an easy round. I mean, we're in the Western Conference semifinals, but I like them on the money line and the puck line here. I don't know, like I was saying earlier, I don't know if you saw my strategy the other day. Full unit on that money line, half a unit on the puck line, and I think you're making good value. I honestly think the Oilers are the much better seasoned team. I know it's that seasoning isn't too fresh with their past playoff performances, but I like the experience they have. I like the star power they have. I think they get going, especially at home. I like them on the puck line tonight too.
I kind of like this as well. And then I said I like the Bruins to win and the Oilers by 1.5. You can put the Bruins plus 1.5 with the Oilers money line and get plus 120. I like that as well.
Yeah, it's sketchy. The only thing is when the Bruins have lost this playoff run, it hasn't been by 1 goal.
It was just the Leafs. They were losing by 1.
Yeah, those Leafs games were tight. So I would be hesitant. If you're going to take the Bruins, I like your original idea. I might just do that straight plus 125 and then minus 1.5 plus 125. You're making bread either way. So
yeah,
I think it's going to be high flying. I expect Dry and McDavid to have a bigger game. I know they put up 4 last game, but I expect a 6 piece or something like that. Maybe Skinner gets going at home too and holds them on 2 or under. But I'm going to have the Oilers on the card both games. Feel free to run them again tonight. They're going to have a good one. Team total over. Solov's on the road. Eager to see that. I think he might get pulled in this one. Last time we saw a Canucks backup on the road, they ended up getting a swap in the Nashville series.
I might have to take my boy Hyman to score first again. He's dropped to plus 850 when I got him at 1,000. What was that, game 1? But
yeah.
Yeah, it's true, dude. It is so true. I've watched these first 2 games. He truly just sits on the back door. It's crazy. Like the power play, they'll pass the Draisaitl or McDavid down low. Hyman starts to squeak out a little bit, give himself a better angle. That's how he got the first goal in game one. I think the Oilers power play gets going. I think this could be I don't want to say like a stomping, but I think
6-3.
I was going to say like a 4-1, 5-2, somewhere. Yeah, right in there. Like I think they win the game by 3.
A
I
good
don't
amount
think,
of goals. A team total over by the Oilers today is another good play.
yeah. We'll jump over to the NBA. We have 2 NBA games. Mackey's New York Knicks heading to Indiana for Game 4. Knicks lead this series 2-1 after a huge Pacers win in Game 3. Obviously, it's a major difference having a series 2-1 than 3-0. You're still on your home court in Game 4. Pacers are a 5.5-point favorite here, minus 225 on the money line, plus 185 for Mackey's Knicks, over under a 218.5. I don't know which way I'm going to bet on this. I think the Pacers even up the series.
Yeah, me too. And you know what's crazy is Mackey's not here to go crazy about these Knicks. So let's rewind a bit. This could easily be a 2-1 Pacers series.
Yeah.
If, like their coach said, and they had my Ovi the cat named after Ovechkin making her first appearance on the pod.
First appearance on the pod. You have a cat named Ovechkin? Or
Well, named
Ovi?
Ovi. Yeah, she's great. Come on. But yeah, she's a young in there. I think we got her at like 8 weeks. She's at 12 now. But no, back to this Knicks and Pacers series. If the small market team got respected by the referees on the road, this should be a 2-1 Pacers series. And these Knicks fans, Mackey talking out of their ass, it seemed, going nuts over a 2-0 series lead at home. And Huff's quote rings true to this day: the series doesn't start until you lose on your home floor. And if the Pacers are even able to even this thing up,
this gets to a best of 3 series.
Is there doubt for the Knicks going forward? Because we saw the Knicks almost win that game too on the Pacers floor, so they can blow them out here in Game 4. But if it goes to 2-2, how much worry is there in Knickland?
I definitely think with the injuries. I mean, Mitchell Robinson out for the season. Jalen Brunson's battling a foot, a shoulder. It seems like he's getting banged up every game. I mean, when he's the main focal point, obviously, you're going to get your looks. I just like what the Pacers are doing. Halliburton coming off a huge game. Pascal Siakam, one of the biggest, I think the biggest trade deadline addition at the NBA this season. No one really respected this Pacers team.
I talked about that one big time. I was a big Siakam guy.
No one really respected this Pacers team until obviously they beat that Bucks team. I know it was an injured Bucks team without Lillard, without Giannis. This Pacers team is good. They play a high-flying game up and down the court. I even like the minus 5.5 today. Mackey's going to kill me for saying this, but I'm not going to do the minus 5.5. I think they win the game. This might be where I go with the Pacers in the first half. Come out fast at home. Knicks like to hang around. Let me see what a first half spread is in this game.
Yeah, while you're looking, it's just crazy. Tyrese Halliburton coming to life. We were talking about Mackey saying he's not worried about him. Well, maybe going back to Indiana is the one thing he needed. Going to his home court, that can spark him. And I said it before on the pod. If he can get going on a run, you got to watch out. Still think the Knicks are able to take the series, but Pacers pushing this massive Game 4 here. If we see this one won by the Pacers, it's probably going 7.
Yeah, I do. I think the Pacers can win today, and the Knicks will win the series in 6 because I love them to go back home at Game 5. They're getting the calls at MSG. I think they'd win Game 5, so then they'd be coming back to Indiana with a 3-2 lead. I think you'd see like a 3.5-point spread. I'd probably just take the Knicks to win that game. I don't know. I like the Pacers today. I think the series gets evened up. We have another game.
Wait, before we jump to the Western Conference, do you think New York is pumping the brakes a little bit on we want Boston? Got to worry about those Pacers first.
Yeah, I would be. I mean, your Pacers showed some struggles in Game 2, or your Celtics showed some struggles in Game 2 against that Cavs team. That's a pesky Cavs team. Obviously, we underrated them. I think Orlando, if anything, for me, that kind of just says a little bit more about this Magic team that got knocked out in 7 games. Home teams won every game in that series. This Cavs team is better than a lot of people thought. Mobley's having a hell of a playoffs. Donovan Mitchell, obviously, everyone knows him and what he's capable of. Darius Garland was shooting the lights out in Game 1 and 2. I know he only had so many points, but he was hitting huge threes at major
They just ran into the buzzsaw. They're a good team. But...
Yeah, they're running into a really good team. Celtics come into Cleveland last night, handle business. They're not there for the weather, so they're there to win basketball games.
Would you like the Cavs against the Pacers and Knicks?
I would take the Cavs to beat the Pacers, yeah. I think their defensive style would shut down the Pacers' offense.
What about the Knicks?
It's tough because the Knicks beat that exact team last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be a good series.
Side with the Knicks, but yeah, it would be a long series. It'd be a 6 or 7. But yeah, I mean, I lean the Pacers here to even it up. I don't love that 5.5-point spread. This is one where I do like the later game. I hate teasing through 0, but you can get some crazy value on the Nuggets if you throw them in a teaser. We got the Nuggets, Timberwolves, game 4 in Minnesota. Minnesota coming off a game 3 ass kicking by the Denver Nuggets, losing the game by 26-27. Obviously, we saw Minnesota do that to Denver on their home floor. So they're kind of just exchanging blows. You heard Anthony Edwards say he came out and said he didn't have the energy. He wasn't ready for this game. He'll be ready in game 4. That won't happen again. Timberwolves a 2.5-point favorite in game 4, minus 150 on the money line. Nuggets at plus 125. I'm gonna stick with these Timberwolves. I don't think they lose 2 straight at home. Although we saw the Nuggets lose 2 straight at home, this is must win from Minnesota. If this series goes back and you leave Denver with a 2-0 series lead and you let it go back to Denver for game 5, 2-2, I don't like their chances to come out of this series and get a best of 3 with Denver.
This is a must win.
This is the biggest game of the season for the Timberwolves. This is bigger than the closeout game because I think they would go back to Denver and lose and then come home in game 6 and win this series. That's what I said was Timberwolves.
But back against the wall down 3-2 is not good. Losing 3 in a row.
Yeah, you can't do that. Exactly. You cannot lose 3 games in a row. You got to get this one. 2.5. I think they cover the spread, minus 2.5, minus 150 on the money line, whichever way you want to go there. Edwards over under 27.5 points. He struggled in game 3. I think he gets back to that scoring ability. Obviously, we saw Jamal Murray have a big game in game 3. They shut him down in games 1 and 2 in Denver. Looks like Mike Malone made him the focal point in game 3, and it worked out for that Nuggets team, getting a huge win. I like the Timberwolves here. I think they cover the 2.5. I think they handle business on their home floor, and we'll worry about this series when it gets back to Denver for game 5. I don't think it's going to be as easy as I'm making it seem. I'm obviously kind of biased towards this Wolves team, and I really like them, but this Nuggets team is the scariest matchup they could have gotten. It's what I wanted to see. This is a great series. I just think the role players for the Timberwolves will step up today. I don't think it's just going to be Anthony Edwards. You could see some points from Conley. Naz Reid, we've obviously heard that name all throughout the playoffs, but I just think Minnesota handles business on their home floor. You heard what he said. It's not going to happen again, and I'm going to take his word for it.
Yeah, I mean, in one thing, I took those Nuggets on the money line before. Only reason is you have the defending champions, MVP, stacked roster, loaded. You did
say I'm going to take their money line both games, and you're going to hit one of them. And you were right.
And when how often in the last 2 years have you seen that good of value on the Nuggets, especially in the playoffs?
Never.
I mean, it's kind of crazy. I know it's dropped down a significant amount going into this game. I still like them on the money line here to even up the series. And who knows? Maybe it's like one of those series, I've talked about this before, where everybody wins on the road. I mean, a lot of nowadays, we talked about this, teams are much more prepared for road games. It's much less of pressure, much less of atmosphere. You're just going out there with your group and playing the game. So maybe that's what they need to right the ship, cool down this T-Wolves like hot talk too. I mean, Jokic and Denver, they have a lot of bulletin board material coming off of the media after that going down 2-0 in Minnesota. People wrote them off, which is crazy to me.
Did you hear what the Nuggets did before game 3?
No.
They made a highlight tape of all the guys on ESPN talking about how the Timberwolves are the hottest team in basketball. The Nuggets can't hang with them. Like all this shit. Because I watch First Take every day. And it was Stephen A. was ripping apart this Nuggets team. I can imagine it was a 5-minute clip of everything he said on First Take all week. He said Nuggets look defeated. Nuggets haven't lost 2 straight home games since before Jokic was a Nugget. How are they going to bounce back from this? Well, they're going to bounce back with a 27-point win on the road as a 5.5-point underdog against obviously the hottest team in basketball. They exposed that Timberwolves defense. They obviously got in the film room, saw what they could do. Like I said, they focused on Jamal Murray. The one thing I was right about in this series, even if the Timberwolves do win this, is that Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert are the duo that you need to stop Jokic. Yeah, it's 2-on-1. You still got to worry about Michael Porter Jr. You still got to worry about, obviously, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope's having a hell of a season, hell of a playoff run. He's huge for them in the finals last year and in the playoffs. I just think that Minnesota handles business on their home floor. I do think it goes back to Denver. I think Denver whoops their ass on their home floor. I do not see Minnesota winning 3 in Denver. If they do, I'd be shocked if they can close this thing out in 5 games, but got to worry about game 4 first. I'm going with the Wolves minus the 2.5. Definitely a biased pick. I'm gonna ride with them. I was trying to find the price for the Nuggets to win the West. I was pretty amazed at this. I was thinking about almost hedging my bet here. And just because I'm starting to think now the Thunder, like Mackey was kind of right about this Thunder team. They're not as it's starting to show. They're young and inexperienced. They got a very easy Pelicans team in the first round, made kind of the hype get built up on them. Give me 1 second here. I'm pulling up the East. The Celtics are minus 470 to win the East. That's insane. Timberwolves now back to plus 135. I'm plus 700. Mavericks, the second favorite, at 250, and the Nuggets at 310. So
I think
like
there's good value on both the
I
higher seeds in the West.
yeah, I think there's really, and the Thunder plus 500 is the one seed. I truly think the Mavericks have the Nuggets number. I said, if you're Minnesota, obviously, when we were talking, obviously, everything was all high after game 2. The whole series was all Minnesota. People were thinking sweep. Mackie said, which team would you rather see Minnesota play, Dallas or the Thunder? I definitely think they'd rather see the Thunder. I think that series is going to go a little longer. I like the Thunder to even things up in game 4 there as well tomorrow night. I don't think, obviously, Luka, one of my favorite players, him and I said at the PJ Washington game, anytime you get 27 points from a role player, you're going to win that kind of playoff game. That was a huge matchup for them. Dallas comes out and takes a 2-1 lead. They're plus 250 to win the West. But I like Minnesota today. That there is crazy value on the Nuggets to win the West right now.
Yeah, I mean,
If
I
they
think
get past this round, they're not losing to Dallas or the Thunder.
It's such a tough series. The West is so much harder than the East here, and I think that those higher seeds are able to take a good money line here, and you can rightfully play both of them on the road and think they even things up.
Yeah.
Like I said, you mentioned it before. I'm going to take the Nuggets on the money line again, just out of the principle I said before.
You're playing with house money on that bet.
Yeah, it is, and it's a plus number. If they win this game, I don't know if we see another plus money line on them for the rest of the series. So
maybe if it gets to a game 6, it'd be a pick 'em. That's the closest.
And you were high on these Nuggets last year, and I bought in once they won the championship. I wasn't too high on them. It's just pure value here. It's love to see that, but it's going to be great. Celtics minus 10,000 to win their series now.
That's insane. That's disgusting.
Yeah, so
they are just like crazy over. And
Porzingis isn't even playing. Porzingis isn't even playing.
But like, how are you going to make a minus 10,000 win a series? Like,
well, because what do you think? What do you think the lines are going to be in game 4, and then what do you think the lines are going to be in game 5?
Cavs are plus 8 tomorrow night. I'm taking
when they go back to Boston, it's going to be double
13 and a half.
Yeah.
Mackie told me, and he actually had a great point about this. I didn't realize this, but when I was with him in Morgantown last weekend, it's a 5.5 point swing home and away.
Yeah.
So like if you're an 8-point dog at home, you're going to be a 13.5 point dog on the road.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because like
unless there's a crazy outcome of one of the games.
Yeah, exactly. See, like Minnesota was a 4.5 point favorite in game 3. They dropped it to 2.5 this game, but they were a 5.5 point underdog in Minnesota or in Denver. So it does shift around. T-Wolves dropped to that 2.5 today, just to kind of allude to some of these games tomorrow. I think we both like the Celtics to cover that 8 points in Cleveland, go back to Boston, up 3-1. And then the other series, Oklahoma City versus Dallas. Dallas, a 2-point favorite again tomorrow night. That's going to be a game time decision for me. I think the Thunder even it up, but they almost look kind of like defeated. Like they look like the Dallas.
Yeah, but you got to think the good thing is the only good thing about being a young team here. Not much real estate in your head. They're still ahead of schedule, and their legs are still ready to go. It's not like they're burnt out.
Yeah, it's almost like when you're that young, it's like the pressure almost like can't get to you. Like they just don't care. I think you know what I mean. Like
we just alluded to some of those NBA games tomorrow. Let me just very briefly. We'll touch on these NHL games tomorrow too. Just talk about these series real quick.
Yeah,
Hurricanes dead in MSG down 3-1. You think?
What do you think? Rangers.
I think they can.
Minus 102.
I think that the Canes could keep the series alive.
I think they can too. I don't know if I'm going
to. They're too good. They're too good.
Yeah, and what's crazy is they've been favorites every game in MSG.
And they haven't played well. In respect to the Rangers, they've been playing great hockey, but the Hurricanes are a good team. I think. Yeah. I think they're able to find a way to get it back to Carolina.
Was Chetkov in net last night for them?
Last night, let me check. I don't think so. I think he was. Actually.
Yeah, I think they're going to roll with him now.
They're just going to. They have to.
Lost. Yeah. They went to him in game 3. They lost. They get a huge game 4 win.
Oh, no, it was Friday. It was Friday.
They went back to him. Wow.
Yeah, and he stopped 22 of 25, so it's going to be him.
It's going to be
crazy, he got the win. And then on the other side, the Stars and Avs. Stars up 2-1, which is hype for me. I got them going to the Western Conference Finals in my bracket, but I'd like to think that the Avs even up on home ice tomorrow night. I'm not touching that series too much. I don't know about you. Yeah. Just kind of enjoying some two great teams going at it. Yeah, that's the hardest side of the bracket. It was Vegas and Dallas and Colorado and Winnipeg. Now it's Colorado and Dallas. It's such a roll of dice. Two teams that are great. Yeah, the Stars are destined. I mean, I said this before. I think the Stars are finally destined to have some playoff success, but you can't write off McKinnon and Makar and the rest of that Stars.
And that's the other thing is like Colorado. They had so many injury issues all year, and they still ended the season with 107 points. I think if they were a healthy team, that's the one seed in the West.
Yeah, but still, the goaltending woes, a lot of things. And the Stars are deeper than them. They really are.
Yeah,
I know that the top-end talent for the Avs looms large, but if you're talking
The
depth-wise,
Avs have the best 2, 3, maybe 3 players in this
yeah.
series, and then the next 7 guys are Dallas Stars.
Yeah, and there's a lot of younger talent too that's stepping up. They have a lot of like random X factors, depth scoring that can pop off. So that'll be interesting to watch. But some good stuff in the NHL and NBA. I think we got a few games on the MLB docket. A couple that we want to highlight.
Go ahead.
Yeah, a couple that we want to highlight. We got a full slate today. You know, we love Sunday baseball. Kind of weird. Sometimes you get rest days for a lot of star players. I know Otani's not playing today. George Springer also out. A couple of big names. But you get some good matchup. We have Sunday night baseball as well. We'll start with a good one I like. I like the D-backs and the O's. D-backs had a great year last year, right? But they've kind of started slow here. Corbin Carroll being one of the main reasons the reigning rookie of the year. He's starting to turn around a bit. They dropped him all the way down to the 8th spot in their lineup.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but last week or so, he's jumped back up to the leadoff spot. So he'll be fine to go. And one of my favorite pitchers in the MLB, Zach Gallen, is going on the mound for them tonight. So I kind of like them on the money line. They're sitting at plus 110. I'm seeing right here going against the O's. O's are a great team, though, so it's hard to bet against them. 26-12 on the year. Yeah. Diamondbacks still 4 games back of 500. Hard to count them out, but it's Dean Kramer versus Zach Gallen. I think Zach Gallen's able to spin the ball pretty well today. He's 4-2 on the year with a 2.8 ERA. Dean Kramer 3-2 with a 3.5, so no slouch over there. Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, those guys are studs. If you were to build a team nowadays, those are 2 guys I would look at probably before Corbin Carroll because of the start of the year he's had. But yeah, I like the D-backs to get one done today on the road.
I like them too. I thought you were going to go with the Orioles here at home. I like the Diamondbacks as well. I think Gallen wins this pitching matchup. I do like what is his first name? Dean Kramer.
Yeah, Dean Kramer. Yeah,
I do like Kramer. I've had him on my fan. But I think I'm going to sit him here today. I like the Diamondbacks on the money line. I have plus 105, plus 110. Getting them at it's definitely a far road trip. What's the season or what's the series at right now for this weekend?
Let's see. The past couple games, I think they might have been splitting. Nope. Orioles won 4-2 game 1, so a good game. Then they won in extras 5-4 in the 11th last night. So it's been a good series.
Yeah, I like the Diamondbacks. I don't think they get swept here,
especially with their ace on the tee. You got to think they get one done.
Yeah.
Like I said, these games are just the best games of the day. We'll give you some quick picks at the end.
Here's one that I just noticed. Alek Manoah gets the call up back to the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I mean, he's been dicing a bit in the minors, and they've been waiting for him. Blue Jays still sitting under 500 too, which is crazy for a team with high expectations. Here?
Does he get shelled in his first game?
No,
back?
I don't think so. And the Twins have been hot, and I really like Bailey Ober too. He's been a great pitcher, but no, Manoah it's his second start of the year, right? Got lit up in his first one. Yeah, I believe he got lit up in his first one. Let me see. Yeah, he pitched a week ago against the Nats, gave up 6 earned and 4 innings. So not a good sign, especially against a very hot Twins team. Max Kepler been balling. Ober been a great
from West Virginia because he gets chirped so hard. I wish he was obviously a star.
You should have put down the KFC bucket and picked up the pitching a bit more, but. That game will be good. I do like Ober there, though, so maybe he does get lit up. I have Ober going in a few leagues. Let me go over to our next game, though. It's a really good one. The NL West. Padres at home 21-21 against the best team in the MLB. I know they're not at the top of our power rankings currently, but the LA Dodgers are the best team in the league. They have Walker Buehler on the mound going against Yu Darvish, 2 guys that just came off the injured list and made their preliminary starts last week. And that's a great matchup. I mean, Buehler's been on the table for so long after Tommy John. Darvish, we know how good he can be. Big game for the Padres to stay above 500. Dodgers only coming in at minus 130. I love that line. But without Otani, I'm not too sure. I think Buehler calms down a bit. He had not a great start, not a terrible start in his opening one. I think he calms back down a bit. But, yeah, I'm surprised this isn't Sunday Night Baseball. 4:10 game over on the West Coast will be 1:10. This will be a fun one to watch. Teoscar Hernandez has been a great ad for the Dodgers. He had a big grand slam last night to propel him to a 5-0 victory.
I did see that, yeah.
So this should be a good one. 2 of my favorite teams out west. I like the Dodgers there to get it done. I think Buehler grabs a win finally in a rivalry matchup and gets to 1-0 on the season. Grabs his first win in, 3 years?
Yeah. I agree again here. I like the Dodgers. I just think they're the better team. Even like you said, no Otani. I just like this pitching matchup. Walker Buehler, obviously, no disrespect to Darvish. He's a stud as well. We've seen what he's done throughout his career. I think this will be a higher scoring game as well. I like that over 8. I don't obviously anytime you get the 2 big name pitchers, it's a little bit scarier. Once these guys get pulled, obviously you could see a couple runs come in. So you might be sweating this out. Maybe a little live bet if this goes to like 6.5 over under 6.5. I'd really love that over. Perhaps the Dodgers win this game, maybe 5-3.
I had that over yesterday. I'm just waiting for it to hit. I think it was a 1-0 win on Friday, a 5-0 win with a grand slam yesterday. Run's got to start scoring. I took
You
the
need
over
runs from
yesterday.
both teams if you're going to hit the
Yeah.
over.
It's a Sunday though, so if there ever was a day for it to happen, be today.
Yeah.
Two good offenses, two good teams. That'll be a fun watch. Then our last game is Sunday Night Baseball. Mackey's Mets here. He's not here to defend himself, and they're 18-20, hosting our top team in the power rankings, the Atlanta Braves. They're 24-12, coming in with Bryce Elder on the mound against Luis Severino. Severino having a good year. Elder started in the minors. Now he's back up doing his thing again. All-star last year. I think he's a good pitcher. The Braves are only minus 125. I love that. That might be on our card. I'm slamming that. I had a minus 1.5 yesterday. I might take a minus 1.5 too, but I'm going to take that money line for sure. I think the Braves are able to get this done and sweep the Mets. I know it's 4-2, 4-1, good series. I'm going for a sweep here by the Atlanta Braves, Huff. You in agreement?
Yeah, I agree. They've covered in 4 straight, the minus 1.5. I'm going to lean more towards that money line. I think this could be a little bit closer, obviously, in the prime time.
Yep.
If you can get the Braves at minus 125, I love that price there. I'm going to go with the Braves to handle business at Citi Field tonight.
Hey, so Severino, the team's 2-3 when he starts. He's 2-2 on the year with a 2.393 ERA, 37 Ks. It's a good start, but I'll tell you what, when you come to the Mets, you have to be ready to pitch against the Braves. He hasn't done it yet. His first career start against his division rival now, the Braves. I think the Braves are able to get to him. I think they have a big game. This should be an easy one for them. I think they sweep here. A couple other games on the docket that I'm looking at. I think the Mariners bounce back against the A's tonight. A's have been pesky, so watch out for them. They're not the A's of last year or last few years.
This is the Major League A's.
Yeah, so you got to watch out. But it's Alex Wood versus Luis Castillo. You'd like to think the Ace gets the job done. The Rangers should get back in the win column against the Rockies with Urena going against Hudson. It's a weak matchup. Maybe there's an over there as we're in the Colorado air. Brewers Cardinals. I mean, do the Brewers keep rolling? Best team in the NL Central, in my opinion. Bryce Wilson on the mound against Miles Mikolas. Can they get would it be a sweep over the Cardinals? I believe it would be. Yeah,
I think it would be.
They've won 3 in a row, and by astounding fashion, yesterday's being the closest at 5-3. But I think they sweep them here. That's a tough team. Philly's going for the sweep as well against the Marlins. They have a nice pitching matchup. They have their East Zach Wheeler on the mound, so we can feel free to roll that minus 1.5 or first 5, whatever you feel again, Huff. But Astros, they need to start turning the corner. 11 back. We talked about them on the pod a lot. Verlander on the tit against Flaherty. It's a great pitching duel. So there's a lot of good baseball there. Your Cubs and Pirates in tight one. It's a close line once again. Falter against Hendricks. I think your bats should be able to get going by Sucker Brian Hayes go on the IL. That's kind of a blow to your team, but he hasn't been great to start this year. Still a big name though. So
he's more the defensive aspect than the offensive aspect.
I think he'll eventually get to a stardom. I don't know when it'll be. If it'll be this year, the year after, but eventually he's going to be a good player at the dish too. So
yeah,
a lot to keep an eye on in the MLB. Those are some of our picks. We might release an official card. We got some good NHL, good NBA, good MLB on the slate today. We'll talk about it more on the podcast come this week.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys Thursday for the podcast. Make sure you're staying tuned to the social media. Get some NHL, NBA plays out there where we all are obviously in agreement. Get some MLB plays out there for the rest of the slate. Full slate today. Obviously, Mother's Day today. So thanks for listening. We appreciate it. And we'll see you guys Thursday for the podcast.
Go Bees.